Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Shall we get started, Mataji?
Yeah, just give me a few minutes, Mataji. I will just share the link in the group.
Okay. Sundaranand Prabhu said he can't make it today. Preeti Mataji can't make it. So I think this will be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji, no worries. Yeah, give me 2 minutes. By then we will, Vrinda will chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat
Dandavat
Pranam.
pranams. Mataji, no reminder posted in the group. So sometime once the devotees see the reminder,
I saw
the
Mataji. Poster is there.
Yeah,
Only
poster is there with the link
posted.
and everything. Usually Sundarananda Prabhu post, so I don't see it. So usually when they put.
Oh, that
Oh, that's because Prabhuji is not there, Mataji. Prabhuji is outside. That's why.
Yeah. I will post there also, Mataji. I will post it there.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay, Krishna. Welcome back, Vrajeshwari Pran Mataji. And
finally I am back, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you.
Life was so much, treatment and India trip and, new job. Finally, I'm back and settled and routine.
Okay, and you're feeling
back to be here. Yeah.
Hope I will see you for Srimad Bhagavatam class one day.
If you are here, then you should take class, Mataji.
No. No, we are going for summer vacation again to India. So 1 month I'll be gone. So next week we are going.
You just came back, right?
No, I went in February for treatment. I went to Kerala. And then I came back.
India only, yeah. Okay.
Now with the kids and everybody. I went alone. Now I'm going with the kids for India trip. So
very nice.
Then after that, starting end of July, I'll be settled and
you'll be
ready for classes. But I signed up for few summary classes for July and September. August and September.
Okay.
Yeah, Mataji, we are going to close after the 4th canto, Mataji.
Yeah, we're taking a break.
Oh, that's what I'm hearing, Mataji. So I signed up for 5th canto and everything, and then now I'm hearing that you're going to take a pause.
Yeah, so but then we'll open it soon when everybody's available. Yeah. Anyway, we'll start.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Indulekha Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam summaries, 4th canto, 26th chapter. Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for your valuable time and association and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. And even in the last minute, you made the PPT. All glories to your wonderful services, Mataji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. I really didn't want to trouble you, but thank you for being here. Thank you all for joining. The PPT slides are not mine, Mataji. This is from previous Bhagavatam summary classes. So I've just taken those. So there are just a few slides, and this is a very short chapter also. So we'll get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. And today we are going to discuss the 26th chapter of the 4th canto. So I hope I'm sharing the right screen and you can
Yes,
see the
Mataji.
slides.
You can see the PPT. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are talking about a king whose name was, does anyone want to answer? Maybe not Kirtida Mataji, she just covered this chapter in the previous chapter last week.
Puranjana.
Oh, Puranjana, good job, Brinda, thank you. And who is this conversation between? Okay, this
Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj.
Narada Muni is very correct, and it is with a
King
descendant of
Pratim Parishad.
Absolutely right, Mataji. Yes, so it is between Narada Muni and King Prachinabari. So this King Prachinabari is in the lineage of King Prithu. So he's a descendant of King Prithu. So that's why Narada Muni knows that he is a very good soul. He is also the father of the Prachetas. So he sends off his sons, the Prachetas, to do penance so that they can come back and rule the kingdom and have wonderful offsprings. So after doing that, this King Prachinabari, he goes all around and he does a lot of karma kanda sacrifices. So seeing this, feeling very compassionate for the king, Narada Muni has come there. Okay, so after Narada Muni has come, he starts talking about, he discusses this, an allegorical story with this king. Okay, so he narrates the story of King Puranjana and how Puranjana goes to a kingdom and there he sees Puranjani and he gets married to her, and how they come and he is completely leading a very nice, very, a life that is where he's fully attached to his wife. And so now, after that, one day, King Puranjana, he decides that it is time for him to go hunting. So till then, he was so attached to his wife, he would not go anywhere without her. But on this particular day, so Narada Muni is continuing, that on this day, he just took up his bow and he had a nice golden armor and he had quiver of unlimited arrows. And with this, he is going on a hunt. So let us quickly look at a summary of what this entire chapter is on. So first it talks about how he goes for hunting on a chariot. Now that is complete, that is described in the first 3 verses and what that each one of them represents. And after that, it talks about how he did the hunting and how after he was hunting for a long time, he got so tired and he came back home. And after he came back home, he sees that his wife is not around. And so his wife was actually really angry and upset with him. So he goes and he pacifies his wife. That is all that's there in this chapter. That's what we have in this chapter. But as we know, everything that Narada Muni is saying here has got a hidden meaning. And so we are going to try and understand what that hidden meaning is. So this King Puranjana, he takes his bow and a golden armor and he is gotten on his chariot that was driven by 5 very swift horses. And he had 11 commanders. And with those 11 commanders, he went to the forest. Now, this forest was named Panchaprashta. And we will see what each one of these means very quickly. Okay. So, and in that chariot of his, he carried 2 very explosive arrows. And this chariot itself was sitting on just 2 wheels and it had a revolving axle. So on the chariot, there were 3 flags, 1 rein, 1 chariot driver, 1 place for him to sit, for the Puranjana to sit, and there were 2 poles. Okay, and there were 5 weapons and 7 coverings. And this chariot was made in 5 different styles, and there were 5 obstacles that were before this chariot. So let us see, what is this chariot? In our Bhagavad Gita also we talk about a similar chariot. So this chariot is the body, and the one who is sitting in the chariot is the living entity. He is the owner of that chariot. So the living entity over here, he is represented by Puranjana. He is the one who owns this body. And so this body, it has, Okay. I'll just restart the screen share. Just trying to. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so there are 3 flags on this chariot. So now this chariot is the body. And what are these 3 flags? These 3 flags are the 3 modes of material nature. And by these 3 modes, we are constantly being influenced. So we know about the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So just like how when we see a flag on the chariot, you know who the owner of that chariot is. In the same way, based on the mode that we are in, you can easily understand what is the nature based on, based on the flag, based on the nature of based on the mode, we can easily understand what kind of person one is. Okay, so what are we being most influenced by? So now here, Narada Muni is trying to remind Prachina Barhi that he is now acting under the influence of the mode of passion, because in his kingdom there is a lot of animal killing, right? So that's why we are talking about this particular forest where Puranjana is going to kill a lot of animals. So this Prachina Barhi, because of his various karma-kandic sacrifices, he used to perform so many sacrifices, one right after the other, and for each there is a lot of animals that he had to kill. And so that shows that he is acting under the mode of ignorance. So this is for people who are following Karma Kanda. But when we are in the Vaishnava practice, there is no place for any animal sacrifice. We don't do that here. Like what Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, we give up all other religious duties of us and we only surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So this King Puranjana, why has he gone into this forest? He has also gone to kill animals. So he is also the living entity who is under this mode of ignorance right now. So this forest that is called Panchaprashta. Pancha is 5 and Prashta is used, this is used to indicate the 5 working senses. So all the hands, legs, the tongue, the rectum, the genitals, these are the karmendriyas. So by these senses, the body is then able to enjoy the material life. And then what is this chariot driven by? There are 5 horses that are going in, various directions. And so these 5 horses, they represent the 5 sense organs. Those are the sense organs that are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So these organs are constantly being attracted by all the various sense objects, right? So these horses are also constantly being, agitated, and they are moving so swiftly. And so that attraction to sense objects is described by this horses going very fast. So on this chariot, he has 2 very explosive arrows. What are these explosive arrows? This is just used to describe our false ego. And this false ego has got 2 attitudes. One is our the fact that I am this body, that is our ego, and then the fact that everything that is attached to me in relation to this body of mine, all those also belong to me. That is a sense of possessiveness. So those 2 are the 2 explosive, very dangerous arrows. And after that, we see that this chariot is driven by 2 wheels only. 2 wheels are the 2 kind of facilities that we have. One is either sinful life, or second is the religious life. These are the 2. And there are 5 kinds of obstacles we see. So these 5 kinds of obstacles are the 5 kinds of air that is passing within the body. So the prana, apana, udana, samana, vyana. So all of these. And then there are 7 coverings, it says. Here, what is it? Yeah, there are 7 coverings on the chariot. So these 7 coverings are actually this body that is covered by the skin, muscle, fat, then there is blood under, then there is marrow, then there is bone, and then there is semen. So these are the 7 coverings. And after that, we have the 3 subtle material elements and the 5 gross material elements that is also covering the living entity. And then we have the reins of the chariot. The reins indicate the mind that is used to control the horses. And then it talks about how there is a sitting place in the chariot. Now, the sitting place is the heart. And that is where the living entity is situated. So the soul is situated within the heart. And there are 2 poles in the chariot. These 2 poles are the causes of bondage, which is both lamentation and illusion. So in this material life, the living entity, he is constantly hankering for one thing after another, all material things. And because of that, we are constantly in an illusion. And by this situation of ours, we are constantly lamenting for what we don't have. So this lamentation and illusion represent the 2 posts of bondage. And there are 5 motions of this chariot that once again indicates all the workings of the 5 senses. And this Prachina Bari and Puranjana, sorry, not Prachina Bari, Puranjana is wearing gold ornament, gold armor and everything. So that indicates all the quality of Rajogun or passion. And once again, the 11 commanders are the 10 senses and the mind. So the mind is constantly planning, just like it's constantly planning with what to do with each one of our senses, with the 10 senses, how we can enjoy this material world to the fullest. That is what the mind is constantly trying to think of. So with this, we will move on to what happens once he goes into the forest. So now this king, he never used to leave the company of his queen. But somehow on this particular day, he just was so inspired to hunt that he just took his bow and arrow, and he didn't care for his wife, and with great pride, he just went into the forest. So what this represents is that it shows the greed for enjoying different women in even though you are married to one. Okay, so because he had great pride, he accepted the bow and arrow. What are the bow and arrows representing? It represents attachment and hatred. So our consciousness, it constantly will work in two different ways. There is the right way in which it will work and the wrong way. So when one is very, very proud of one's own position, sometimes we are so affected by the mode of passion. And so then we forget what is the right way of doing things, and we accidentally could accept the wrong path. So also we know that how Kshatriyas, they are generally advised to go and hunt ferocious animals so that they can practice the art of how they can be on battlefields, how they can be very strong and brave even in the battlefields. And so they do not kill animals just to eat them. That is forbidden for any human being. So then this King Puranjana, he was completely overtaken by his demoniac propensities, and so his heart became so hard and he was so merciless, and just like that he started shooting arrows and killing various kinds of innocent animals. So this is again shows how when a man becomes so proud of their material achievements in life, they then try to enjoy their senses in a very unrestricted manner. So now we are being influenced. We said that this material body is being influenced constantly by the three modes. So here the modes of passion and ignorance become so prevalent that they start behaving in demoniac ways. And in this age of Kali, we are our sense of tolerance and mercy and compassion towards other beings is reduced to such an extent that there is constantly some kind of unrest and wars, and there is even people amongst human beings itself, there is no sense of compassion. We are all greedy for to possess everything for ourselves. So that kind of unrestricted sense enjoyment forces us to do so many unlawful, very very unrestricted things, very offensive, very bad activities. And so this things that we are doing, like we start with killing animals, right? And so when we start with killing animals, all these people who are killing animals also end up being being slaughtered like animals, right? Because that is the reaction that we have to bear for our sins, our past bad deeds. And so because we don't know about the laws of nature, the laws of the Lord, we end up opening all these various slaughterhouses, and we start hunting for animals, without any discrimination. We keep killing just so that we can gratify our senses, and that has caused so much of trouble to ourselves in this world. So then, like this, the Vedas also recommend that it has given us proper directions for how you can do sense gratification. Okay, people may be inclined to eating, meat and fish, and doing all the activities that are prohibited, but the Vedas give certain provisions for doing some of these activities in a very restricted manner, in a way that is actually dharmic. Okay. So Narada Muni, he was telling Prachina Barhi that any person who works according to the Vedic injunctions, they are not going to be involved in fruitive activities. So just like how the government, they may issue a lot of trade licenses so that the citizens can act in a particular way. In the same way, the Vedas also will contain injunctions that it restrains us, but also it regulates all our activities, all of material fruitive activities. And we know that anybody who works according to the direction of the Vedas, they cannot be involved in fruitive activities. Why? Because yajñartha karmananyatara. So whatever activities we are performing it only as a service to the Lord. Whatever we are doing, that is a act of, that is for satisfying the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And any other activity that we perform will create a reaction. So as long as we are doing our activities for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, those activities are all right. They are not going to give us any reaction. But the moment we start performing activities for us, our own, sense gratification without following the injunctions that are given in the scriptures, then those will lead to reactions, and that will bind us back in this material world. So that's what Narada Muni was trying to say here. And so he says that, see, people, when they act very whimsically, they fall down. And this fall down comes because of their false prestige. That false ego that we have causes us to feel like, oh, yes, I am so great. I have done so many great things. So we forget our real intelligence. We forget that we are actually Dasanudas. We are the servant of the Supreme Lord. That is our position. So, but when we forget that intelligence, then we are continuously lost in this cycle of birth and death, passing through all the 8,400,000 species. And finally, when we get into a human life, at that time, we should make sure that at least now I am going to follow all the rules, whatever is laid down, at least in the Vedas, so that I can, lead a proper, a good regulated life and try to go back. So, Srila Prabhupada has given a very beautiful purport for that too. And King Prachina Barhi, like this, he hunted so many animals, and seeing how he was hunting many animals, lot of people were feeling so merciful, and they became very, very unhappy. They felt merciful to the animals for having lost their lives just like this in vain, and they were so unhappy. So who are these people? So they are the devotees of the Lord. So when the devotees of the Lord, because they are so compassionate to all living entities, when they see how these animals are being sacrificed for no reason, these devotees, they feel compassionate and they try to instruct the living entity. Okay, so Narada Muni also, he is trying to point to the king that, see, you're killing of all these animals in this various sacrifices that you're performing. That is also really not required. So he is trying to stop King Prachina Barhi from doing that. So we see how even Lord Buddha, he incarnated just so that he could stop the people from afflicting so much harm on all other living entities. To stop killing of animals. So like this Puranjana, he killed so many animals, and they talk about what the animals are. And after killing so much, he became so exhausted. So this exhaustion and him being tired was the result of all of his sinful life. So sinful actions. So even in Srila Rupa Goswami, he says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that a man, he becomes sinful only out of ignorance. And that is the only reason why a person starts committing all sinful activity. And when they commit these sinful activities, they have to suffer the reaction. Because it's the law of nature, right? How if we touch fire, even if it is a little child, he gets burnt. And like the fire is not going to, discriminate between, oh, okay, this person knows that this is fire, so okay, I can burn him, but this is a small kid, let me spare him. That's not how the fire thinks. That's the law of nature. So there is no compassion there. So if a person, due to his ignorance, he violates the laws of the Lord of nature, then he's committing sinful activities, and he is subject to the reactions of that. And so this king, he has become tired. And so when he comes in contact with a saintly person, then only is he going to stop his sinful activity and start thinking about how he can lead a religious life. So we see that how this king, he was so fatigued, so he decides to return back to his royal palace. And this royal palace can be equated to how he came back to his pure consciousness. So all this result of being in so much of passion and ignorance is just lust and greed, right? So this King Puranjana, after so much of killing, he just he's worked so hard and he's so tired now. He's like, okay, now let me retire from all of this activity and let me go back to where I can be most comfortable and happy. And so that's why he's going to his house. So in this way, his consciousness stopped him from committing further sinful activity. And so he could return home. And after that, he took a nice bath and he had an appropriate dinner. So what is this appropriate dinner? It's just used to indicate that when we retire from sinful activity, and then we first can be purified by our spiritual master. And how are we purified by the spiritual master? By hearing from the spiritual master. And that is very important. So we know what the appropriate food for a person in the mode of, in the three modes are, right? So we see that for one who wants to be in the mode of goodness, the appropriate food is given in Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter. It says that, okay, those foods that are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart, that is what a person in the mode of goodness should eat. So when one is, very tired and fatigued, it's very difficult to understand the signs of God. That is why here he has come home and he's taken a bath so that he can be refreshed. So that is by, his purification has occurred by accepting his spiritual master. So after this, he decorated himself nicely and smeared very, fragrant sandalwood pulp, and he put nice flower garlands, and he started searching for his queen. So now he has now come back to his proper consciousness. And he has accepted the saintly person as his spiritual master. And he has to hear all the Vedic instructions from the spiritual master. So he has become completely refreshed, and that's why they indicate that also by the sandalwood pulp that is smeared all over him. And so all these decorations that he has on him can be compared to the knowledge that one receives. And this knowledge is of one's own self, as well as all the knowledge of, what is actually to be performed and what's not. So now the king, he's come back home and he's searching for his wife, and he's all fresh, and he is trying to search for his wife. Who is this queen? She is the original consciousness. So we need to be favored by two things. One is the instructions of the saintly person, and only then can we go back to Godhead, go back to Krishna. And also we need to make sure that we are hearing from the saintly person. What are we hearing? We have to hear the Shastras. We have to hear about our scriptures. So if we want to return, we have actually three things: Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. We have to take association of saintly people. We have to follow the instructions of our spiritual master, and we have to also make sure that we learn from the Shastras. And after this, he is completely happy and he's very joyful. He's only looking for his wife. He can't find his wife anywhere. And so what does he do? He goes and he asks all the people in his household. And he asks, oh, where is your mistress? What's going on? Are you all very happy like before, or are you not? So now he is coming to his good consciousness. And so he is starting to consult the activities of the mind, which is thinking, feeling, and willing. And so he is trying, that's why he's asking all these questions. And so he decides, oh, should I return to my material activity, or should I stay steady in Krishna consciousness, in my spiritual activity? So what is important? So, again, this is closed. I'm sorry, using a different laptop, so that's why. But I'll open it, and we are right here. And so then, like this, he starts searching for his wife, and he sees her. So he sees, oh, okay. He starts thinking, I don't see why now all of this household paraphernalia that is around me, none of it seems to attract me like how it was before. Now, this is the king who did not leave the side of his wife at all till now. So he realized that, oh, when there is neither a mother nor a devoted wife at home, the house is like a chariot without wheels. So he's thinking, where is the fool who will sit down on such an unworkable chariot? So the Lord says, yes, so King Puranjana, he's talking about what the household would be without a mother or a wife. So when one is guided by one's intelligence and one renders devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, then his house is going to be a very pleasing place. And both the mother and the wife who is executing devotional service to the Lord, and who helps their husband, the wife who can help their husband execute their devotional service also, is a foundation for a very, very happy home. So this Puranjana is missing his wife a lot. And so he's like, okay, where is that beautiful woman who always saves me whenever I'm drowning in this ocean of danger? She gives me good intelligence at every step, and she constantly is there for me. So a good wife and good intelligence is comparable, both. One who possesses good intelligence, they can always think before they act, and they can save themselves from so many dangerous conditions. In this material world, there is danger at every step. So we know how it's said in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in the 10th canto. And so in order to be safe in this material world, we need to take the shelter of an intelligent person. An intelligent person is a devotee. So Vaikuntha is actually our real home, right? Because in Vaikuntha, there is no anxiety, there is no danger at all. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that unless we are Krishna consciousness, a person cannot be, we are Krishna conscious, a person cannot be called as an intelligent person. So now all the women, he's talking to them and he asks them. So they say, oh, we don't know why. We know where your wife is. She is lying on the floor without any bedding, and she's not properly clothed, and she's just lying on the ground. So we don't know why she's acting in this way. So she was neglected by her husband, right? Because he just went without caring for his wife to the forest. So now she felt like he is supposed to constantly be there to protect the wife. And the wife, just like how the goddess of fortune is located in the chest of Lord Narayana, in the same way, the wife should also be placed in a very, in the protective embrace of the husband. So this Prachina Barhi, he went to his queen, and there, when he saw how she was, he was so bewildered, and he started repenting what he had done. And he realized that, oh, I had neglected my intelligence, and I had engaged in bad activities, in in fulfilling my senses, and gratifying my senses by going into the forest and killing all these animals. So when one's intelligence or good intelligence is separated and neglected, then one engages in all kinds of sinful activities. So by not being Krishna conscious, we are willingly drinking the poison of material life. So this king, he started speaking to his wife in very, very sweet and pleasing words, and he was fully filled with regret, and he kept trying to pacify her. And he just kept regretting the fact that I have left her. So this regret is always good, because that regret that I have done the sinful activity, I have abandoned my good intelligence, which over here can be considered equated to abandoning one's Krishna consciousness. Then slowly, when we regret what our bad misdeeds, then our path for deliverance is opened up. So like this, the king, he was very, very sweetly speaking to her. And then first, what did he do? He first apologized for his actions. And then he touched her feet, and he embraced her nicely, and he seated her on his lap, and then started talking. So the very first thing that we need to do in order to awaken our own Krishna consciousness is also by regretting all our bad past deeds. So, and in order to attain that, what should we do? The first thing is to touch the dust of the lotus feet of one's spiritual master. We cannot be Krishna conscious without on our own endeavors, without the mercy of the spiritual master, right? Oh, here, that is the most important factor in bringing us and in sustaining us on this path. So we have to follow the instructions of a Krishna conscious person, of the spiritual master. And this begins with surrendering. So this surrender process is signified by touching the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master. And that can be done only when we give up our own false pride, because we feel like, oh, we feel puffed up, in our current position in this world. And that puffed up position can be given away when we are actually touching the lotus feet of a spiritual master. So like this, he started speaking very sweetly to his wife that, oh, when a master has accepted a servant as his own man, but does not punish him for his offenses, then the servant is considered very unfortunate. So he is saying that, please punish me, because that punishment is a show of your affection and a show of your love towards me. So in the same way, even the laws of nature are here, and they punish us according to what we actually deserve. So when one is in this higher consciousness, we'll understand that this is what we deserve, and we should not be disturbed by whatever is coming our way. This is a very, very high, high level of consciousness that a person should have, and that's when one is a real devotee of the Lord. So any awkward position that we may be put into, if we can see it as the mercy of the Supreme Lord, then then it shows that we have become a pure devotee. The king, he also should be considered very merciful, because whenever he condemns a murderer to death, because that murderer is being punished in this life, and by that punishment he is being freed of so many of his sinful activities, and in his next birth, he can take a birth that is free from all the sin that he has committed. But if one does not accept that punishment, then we have to pass through so many hellish planets so that we can be free from all those sins before we can take another body. So here he says, okay, so if when the master is chastising his servant, that can be accepted as a very great mercy. The one who becomes very angry, he is, with the punishment of the master, he is very foolish, because he does not know that this is the duty of a friend. When a foolish person is instructed something very nice, sometimes he cannot accept it, but instead he becomes very angry. And this anger is compared to the poison of a serpent, because when a serpent is fed, then his poison actually increases more. So he starts glorifying how beautiful the queen is, and then he says, oh, please give up your anger, you please feel merciful to me and smile on me and smile upon me with a lot of with loving attachment. But he's trying to beg her to come back to her original beauty, so that this is compared to how a living entity can revive himself of his original Krishna consciousness. And that consciousness is very beautiful for us. All the beautiful features like that, he'll say that, oh, when I see a smile on your beautiful face, when I see your hair, which is, in the blue color, and I see your raised nose, and I hear your sweet talk, you become more beautiful to me. So in the same way, all these beautiful features of the queen can be compared to all the beautiful features in Krishna consciousness. When we come back to that original Krishna conscious state, then we can be steady and one's life becomes very successful. So he continued and he said, okay, has somebody offended you? Please tell me. I am prepared to give that person any punishment, as long as he is not a Brahmana or a Vaishnava. So if anyone can be punished for their crimes in a kingdom or in a state, except for the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. First of all, because they do not break or transgress any of the laws of the state. And even though sometimes it may appear that they are violating the laws, they cannot be punished by the king. And this instruction is also given by Narada Muni to Prachina Barhi. Why? Because Narada Muni is reminding Prachina Barhi that, see, your forefather, Prithu Maharaj, he had never chastised a Brahmana or a Vaishnava. Okay, so in this way, he says that, okay, when one pollutes one's Krishna consciousness by offending a Brahmana or Vaishnava, then we know how it is very difficult to come back and into a state of pure consciousness from there. So when we offend a Vaishnava, then we need to make sure that we do the proper penance for it, right? So the penance for it is by begging. First of all, we have to beg pardon from the Vaishnava that we have offended. And so he continued and he said, my dear wife, I have never seen your face without that tilak decoration. I have not seen you so morose. I have not seen you like this without any luster or affection. So he's talking about how, when a woman is decorated with, tilak and vermilion, they look very, very, attractive. So one's consciousness and one's intelligence are only brilliant when one has the right kind of consciousness. That is, we are only thinking about Krishna. So when we are not thinking about the Lord or his devotees or his pastimes, then his Nama Rupa Guna Leela, then one becomes morose and lusterless. So much so that we cannot derive any benefit from any kind of sharp intelligence. So like this, he admits that he went to this, it was because of his sinful desires that he went to the forest without asking the queen, without even going and, without bothering about her. And so he realizes that this was his mistake and he seeks forgiveness for that. And in this way, when finally one comes back to one's own proper intelligence, then both the intellect and the intelligent person can enjoy one another with great satisfaction. In this way, we end this particular chapter, the 26th chapter. As I said, this is a very short chapter, and I really hope it made some sense. But thank you. I'd like to conclude here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Mataji ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for a very beautiful class. Thank you so much for explaining all the purports very detailedly. Very, very, very grateful to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Yes,
you
what
so
want to
much,
say? Yeah,
Mataji,
Yunda want
for
to say
being
something.
I like your class, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Balavrinda. Thank you for being there and thank you for listening. Hare Krishna. I hope you have a wonderful vacation.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Mataji.
so much,
Very
Rajesh.
nice class. Very
Thank
nice class. You always explain with so much that the sweetness. Any chapter, it doesn't matter, that sweetness you added to it. So even though this is kind of allegorical story, you connected the proper purport and the inner meaning, the hidden meaning so nicely. It just the 1 hour just flew by. Thank you so much for your sweet class.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Hare
much,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji.
I'm so glad to have you back. Hare Krishna. I really
Hare
hope we
Krishna.
can take some sessions before we wind up.
Sure, Mataji.
Yeah.
I hope we can continue, but I think the attendance is an issue right now. So, so
Yes,
all
and
right,
I think maybe
Mataji.
summer break might be another reason. So hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then we can start
Also,
fresh.
and also we, because when the kids class is there, it's continuous for me to sit with the computer. But if the kids class is not there, I was so cautious that last week and this week that I should not miss this. I should not miss. I put 2 alarms so that I don't miss this class. Because if the kids class is there, it's automatic for me. I don't have to make extra endeavor to sit for this class and make live and listen to the class. If the kids class is not there, the day goes away like that, and you will forget when is 6:30 done. Oh my God, 6:30 is done, and I'm not there on the call.
Yeah,
I get it
actually, that
like
has
that.
been a problem.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I
Yeah.
really love summary classes, Mataji, because within this 1 hour, no, we are
Get a
learning
gist
about
of
the
the
whole
whole
chapter,
chapter.
right? Right.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. Other than, verse class, and we attend so many different, classes, but the summary is always like, different flavor. I really like summary classes.
Yes, Mataji, it goes like a story, right? Most of the chapters.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no much philosophy in there. It is like just like hearing to a story, and even a small kid can easily get it. It will be very easy.
Yeah. Hopefully after summer we come back and continue.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji, I'll definitely share whatever you said. I'll tell our coordinators and see. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we have good, so enough speakers and people who are ready to everybody, if devotees also there.
Yeah. It
Ready
gives
to.
enthusiasm. There is more attendance, because we are in that level only. We are not like Prabhupada spoke to the four walls, empty room. But the more people we get enthusiasm, right?
Mataji,
To
we
speak
are not
Krishna
even
Katha.
speaking to 4 worlds, Mataji. This is YouTube. Many people will be watching later. So
Right.
we are at once, like, even though we are thinking now nobody is watching, but this YouTube video is stayed on YouTube forever, and anybody can watch
Exactly.
anytime. So
Anytime. That's very
yeah,
true. Very true,
yeah.
Mataji. Yeah. But while the class is going on, if we have our friends and devotees, it gives always an enthusiasm to speak.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Good
really have to thank, Grace Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. She comes for every single class.
Every single
She
class,
doesn't
right?
miss anything. Yes. Well, see, because that's you have to make special endeavor for it. I know, because last few weeks it's like, yes, I don't even have a idea of what the time is. It just flies, and after 7 o'clock I'll be like, oh no, okay, today was the class. I make the poster, but I forget. So I can imagine how others are.
Especially in the summer, it is very hard to catch up the time, Mataji. Schedule is wrong, going, everything is wrong because children want
Completely, yes,
to
changed.
play.
Children are home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all miss. So it's very difficult to remember this evening 6:30 classes there. Okay, anyway, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Nice discussion.
Mataji.
Very
Thank
Hare
you,
beautiful
Mataji.
class.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Indulekha
Jai.
Mataji ki jai. We'll meet again next Thursday.